Hey, today I'm going to see if I can give you a little assistance with your CMAs in terms of making time of sale adjustments. Not sure how prevalent that is in agent CMA world, but it's real prevalent in appraiser world. So one of the things the goal is to get you to be aware of the importance of time of sale adjustments and how markets move on a monthly basis, and with the hopes of getting your comparables adjusted in terms of the correct market and where it should be today, not where it was back in April, May, because if you do that, you're probably going to wind up on the expired or withdrawn list, and you don't want to do that. Let's have a little history lesson here. All the data I'm looking at is for Cary, Apex, and Morrisville, TMLS data. They are resale listings in the towns of Cary, Apex, and Morrisville. 2021, the graph that you're looking at right now is the median sales price per square foot. And we go from January to September. I had a lot of discussion this year, and we'll go over that graph in a bit about the seasonality of the market and how historically prices peak in June, then coming down. So the downward movement in price metrics this year, is it seasonal or is it the market moving downward? Well, last year you can see, and that is typically the case. Historically, that has been the case. But last year, you see, seasonality had nothing to do. It was essentially a straight moonshot from January to September. So if you compare the $216 a foot in September versus the $166 in January, that was an increase of about 30%. And the easy math on that is 3% per month. And that's what you all felt in terms of when you were doing your CMAs and how prices were escalating quickly. Now let's go back to this year, and we have more of a normalcy in the market. So I'm going to show you two graphs right here. The first one is going to be median sales price or average sales price. And this is once again Cary, Apex, and Morrisville resales this year. You can see in January we started at 522. We peaked in May at 686, and in September we went down to 602. So the challenge that y'all have is that, look, if you have comparables that sold within 30 and 60 days, and remember, let me emphasize this, remember that you're making your time of sale adjustments based on the contract month, not the closing month. So typically there's a 30 to 60 day lag between those two areas. So you want to make sure you're making those adjustments from the right time. If you look at July, August, and September, it's pretty much stable, 608 to 614 to 602. If you have all your comparables within that time frame, no need to make a time of sale adjustment. You can adjust on the things that you typically do. Now, the question becomes, what happens if you don't have any sales there, and you have 2 sales in May, and you have 2 sales in January? Here's where things are going to get a little bit complicated. If you have 2 sales that contracted in January, 602 minus 522 is an increase of about 15%. So you're going to have to make some kind of adjustment to this comp in January to bring it up to current market conditions. Okay, you get that because you're doing that all last year. Now we're going to have to go back to something we haven't done since the recession, which was negative time of sale adjustments. And so here's this comp in May. 686, just use this as the average sales price. If you price your house based upon this May contract metric, you're going to miss the market because things have gone down about 12% if you go from 686 to 602. So really you're going to have to take this May contract and bring it down by that percentage. So really important. Last year it was linear. House prices were linear. This year, not so much. There's a big peak in May, and there's a downward trend since then. It's been pretty stable for the last 3 months. Explanation to your sellers is that's the influence of mortgage interest rate increases. First quarter, not really there. Second quarter, they took full effect. Remember, these metrics are about 30 to 60 days behind. So when you see this May peak, it was really contract activity and maybe spurred on by people wanting to get their houses under contract and move into their houses before before mortgage interest rate increases hit in full force. And that's essentially what they did. So really wanted to make sure that you use resources like this, and you first off have to understand it. And I hope that this video will help you understand it. And then you have to articulate changing market conditions to your seller. So for information like this and on other things, please subscribe to thetarreport.com.